Title should be obvious, what I intend to teach you here, show you, or teach you to teach. Matter of fact, if I can teach you to teach this to other people, I think I'm getting more out of it than just showing you. Modeling instead of test cases. So this is all about test planning, writing test plans and stuff like that, so that you can think, you can come up with things to test, so that you can share it with other people so they can critique with you and tell you, change it this way, or we like that, or that's not necessary, or whatever. When I say test cases in this context, I am meaning what people traditionally think of, which is the long list of stepwise 1, 2, 3, do this, check kind of stuff. That, in my opinion, is arduous, expensive, tedious, and very few audiences like to review it with you. They go to sleep. So I'm going to offer a different way of looking at this that I think a lot of you already do. Some of you haven't before. Either way, it's good. And I'm going to show you some examples of it, but this is going to convey some concepts that underlie the ideas that work here and why I think they're more helpful. So let's go. Okay, so instead of a bunch of step-by-step, do this, check, I drew what I was planning to do as a flow chart. So 3 actions, do this. Okay, so the question for this slide, how many test cases is this? And go ahead, you're here, say something. Throw out a number. 3, well, it's doing, I do this, then I do this, then I do this. So 1, someone says 1. Yeah, that's what I thought. Hold on, animate. My answer is it's 1, okay? And actually, it's fair to me to say my answer because models and tests and ideas are adapted to the person. But what I intended was 1 test case where you did action 1, then action 2, then action 3. So far, we're just on par with a test case with our picture. But let's change the picture, okay? So in flowchart, the diamond is a decision. So we come in on top and we say yes or no, and based on yes, do action 1, otherwise proceed to action 2, then 3. How many test cases is this? 2. Oh, good. The room's learned the pattern. Great. That's great. So, yeah, 1 picture, 2 test cases. Oh, we're already ahead. Okay. And notice you all got it. You say, oh, I see. Like, could you tell someone what those 2 test cases are just looking? Yeah. Okay. Okay, here we go. What are you going to see next? Okay, first off, the answer to the question. You answered it, so I don't need to talk about it. Okay, I jumped ahead a little bit maybe, but you probably predicted something like this. Okay, how many test cases is this?
8. 2 to the 3rd.
Okay, I heard 2 to the 3rd, and I heard 8. And see, now I'm confident. I don't know how to move this thing. Right.
Keep going.
So it's 2 to the 3rd, right? We have 3 decisions that each have, I went backward, that each have 2 options. So 2 to the 3rd power is 8. That's 8 test cases in 1 picture, right? Well, now we're really getting somewhere, right? And you can all see those 8, right? And you can all evaluate that. You can say, oh, well, maybe I'm not so interested in you covering skipping 2. Maybe I'm going to tell you, well, I know you could skip 2, but we don't care if you skip 2. Maybe, we can evaluate and we understand it without 8 pages of test cases. Okay, what am I going to do next? The next one's going to be fun. Yeah, first off, let's get that click to do something. Okay, see what we got here? The no goes back up to the top. The yes goes out to the end. How many test cases is this?
2 to infinity.
Okay, 2 to infinity. A sophisticated way to say it. Infinity. Right? Which is bigger, 2 to infinity or infinity? I'm not. Same size. So, right. This is an infinite number of test cases, 1 picture, and you all get it, right? You all see that it's an infinite number. You realize it's an infinite number of tests because you see that little loop back there. You can critique it. Like if I told you, I am going to run all of the test cases implied here. Someone offer an answer to that.
No,
you're not. What when this thing loops back, assuming these are actions done in a sequential order, what's a real characteristic difference between looping back to the top versus just bombing out the first time? Can someone like characterize the difference in that testing?
Yes versus no.
Yes versus no. Okay. There's an interesting thing that could happen that cannot happen on the one pass through. Can anybody see some of those?
How much state you maintain between.
Okay, that's good. I wasn't even thinking of that. How much state you maintain on the way through, right? Here's something that can't happen on the way through. You cannot do 3 before 1 if you do only once. It would always be, I skipped and skipped 1 and 2, went straight to 3. If I have the loop, I could go 3, 1, right? I can now do different ordering and stuff, right? And it doesn't take long to see that, how rich the cases get, all in just this picture. I'm expressing an infinite number of possibilities, and I can explain with very little verbiage how I'm going to permutate. I could say, you know what? We're going to go 3 times through the loop because we don't think we need 100 times through the loop. And someone might come back and say, you know what? Blah, blah, blah state, blah, blah, blah memory, blah, blah, blah storage. As the developer, I'd feel far more comfortable if you could go to 100 times, right? And maybe you don't need all the combinations. Maybe we can do Dirichlet sequences, which are ways of covering different kind of combinations in optimal order, and do that 100 times to cut down the number. But I'm really worried about some problem, right? And we can have a meaningful critique in so little. Now, how many times have you had that kind of meaningful critique on pages and pages and pages of test cases, right? It's hard. People go to sleep. So this is the basic concept I'm trying to convey here. Compression of ideas into smaller space that's easier to review. Doesn't need to be a flow chart. It can be tables, can be pseudocode. There's all sorts of ways to model the problem other than lists of step-by-step cases. That's the technique. I think that's my last thing other than the explanation for that slide. Oh, what we learned. Models fit a lot in one eyeful, literally infinity. People can infer the meaning. They can see everything in one eyeful. And any model works as long as it describes a problem and makes it easier to understand. And that I think is all I was trying to get. Yeah, it's not like
Do you want to talk for 1 minute about your class tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. So I've got a workshop tomorrow. This is taken from a book of mine, which I stupidly did not put the link on the book I made. Writing Test Plans Made Easy. It's available on Amazon. It's small, it's cheap, it's short, it's easy to read. This is like later in the book, these kinds of concepts of how to represent ideas in short. Okay. The book starts with how to start that outline, which is really, I wrote it because my testers had writer's block. They would either write something ridiculously long that said nothing, or they would go nowhere. And the technique in the workshop is how to plow in and get to an outline that someone can critique fast and easy. That's what the thing tomorrow is. So I'm wrapped.